Well, welcome. Beautiful sunset here in Austin, Texas. About 66 degrees. Temperature is dropping a little bit, but we expect great weather for game number 2 of the doubleheader, third game of the set between Texas and Minnesota. The 6th-ranked Horns looking to take the series with a win. Inside the booth here, Kevin Dunn alongside Keith Moreland. And Keith, Texas had scored 27 runs in the previous 2 games, but last game they ended up only scoring 5. Good offense, but it really was pitching and defense.
Well, you have to look at the pitching and defense. I'll start with the fact that Josh Sawyer did exactly what he needed to do. He really did a good job in the first couple innings, struggled in the third, found a way to get out of it, and then the offense got going. Gerwitz gets his first base hit. This is a first base runner against Dalton Sawyer, the left-hander from Minnesota. Longhorns take advantage of it, a base hit, loads the bases. Colin Shaw drives in the first run. Wild pitch, scores the second run as Joe Baker not only comes in to score for his first collegiate run, and it's 2-0 at that point. We get to the 5th. Minnesota has threatened but hadn't scored. Here comes Baker getting his first career knock. That leads to another run in the inning on Colin Shaw's hustling double. And all of a sudden, you look up and it's 3-0. And sort of the wind came out of the sails of Minnesota at that point. And then in the ninth, what an outstanding play to end the ball game by the senior Brooks Marlowe from Giddings. What a great effort. That ends the game for a 5-0 victory. And Texas has controlled this series, and they've done it with pitching. There's no question. This is a big opportunity for Chad Hollingsworth, who was the hero last year in the run to the College World Series, to come back out. He really struggled in that first outing. He's been a good pitcher in his career. He's bouncing back from a little injury. How does he respond in that second outing? Usually there's the greatest jump. Coaches will tell you from the first start to the second. We saw that with Sawyer. Can Hollingsworth do that tonight?
As for Minnesota, played a much better and cleaner game 2. What do the Gophers need to do in game 3 to get a win?
They got to find a way to score. I mean, they have just been dominated by the Texas pitching staff. They've got to get something going. That means get the leadoff guy on. I don't think they'll bunt as much, but they need to get their leadoff guy on the inning, do a little running, and then get some hits with runners in scoring position. They are 0 for 23 in this series with runners on base. You're not going to win a lot of ball games when you're not getting any hits when there's runners on.
No question. Minnesota will look to get the bats going and hope to get some of those runners in scoring position and then get them home. We got the starting lineup, starting pitchers, and we're going to play some ball. It's game 2 of the double dip coming up next. Oh, welcome back. John Anderson in his 34th season at the helm. He pitched at Minnesota and has been the head coach since taking over for Coach Siebert. He's done a heck of a job. 21-67 all-time in Austin are the Gophers. We take a look at their lineup. Keith talked about how they need to get something going, and I guess that starts up top with Dan Model.
And Mold's got to find something. He's 1 for 8 in the series. He's the guy, though, that can get this thing going. They've got to find a way to get some leadoff base runners. They have really struggled in that department. And then to go with that, as we just mentioned, they really have not done anything once they've got somebody on. They need to play with the lead. They haven't been able to get into the swing of the game. Actually, both starting pitchers have kept them in the game. The bullpen has failed a little bit in this series. That's led to the big deficits in both ball games. They got to get something going offensively on that side. And it'll be interesting to see because I think, as I mentioned, I think Chad, this is a big jump for Hollingsworth. You know, he's getting well. He's getting stronger every day. He's had that 7 days in between starts, and that's always good. You got that first one out of the way. It's not going to go out on me. You know, when you're recouping from an injury, you go out there and you're a little tentative. I'm not sure. Now he knows, hey, this thing's going to stay together. He's had another side outing in between, so I look for him to go out. It should be a good matchup here tonight. We got great weather for it.
Yeah, we do. As Hollingsworth and the Horns take the field, let's go ahead and get to our keys to the game. Keys.
Well, you got to get some runs on the board, Kevin. If you don't score, you can't win. And they need a good start from Shannon, their starting pitcher, because they've had to go to their bullpen a lot in these first 2 games. They still have 18 innings this weekend to pitch coming out of their pen and their starters, so they need a good start for him. And this is a good rebound start for Chad. He has not had many struggles in his collegiate career. He's got a 2.04 ERA in his career coming in to last week's game, so he's never struggled and continue to get that production out of the middle of the lineup. When you look at what they've done with Shaw and Barrera, Trace has been outstanding, and they've gotten great production out of the middle of the Texas lineup. They need to continue to do that, does Texas.
As for Texas, we take a look at Chad Hollingsworth, 6'2", 210-pound junior. He's from Waco, Texas. He went to Robinson High School, as Keith mentioned, came into the year with a 2.04 ERA. If he never gets another out here in Austin, Texas fans will always remember him for that regional against Texas A&M.
Well, you're right, absolutely right. He was the hero of that regional. He really came on. He pitched well once we got to Omaha as well. So he's really done an outstanding job. You can see that he's a guy that I think you will see as a weekend starter this season for Texas. But he's also coming back where he had some tenderness. He's trying to build some arm strength back up. I don't believe his fastball now is where it will be as we get deeper into the season. So he needs to, know that it's going to stay together. So many times that's if you've never had an arm injury and then you get a little bit of an arm injury, there's that hint of doubt in the back of your mind, will it stay together? And each time that it does, that doubt seems to fade away. So it'll be important for him to come back out today and establish his fastball.
As much mental as can be physical at times?
Absolutely it is, especially when you're coming off injury. You just don't know if it's going to stay together. And then if it does, for 2 or 3 starts, and all of a sudden that fades away, and you don't ever think about it again.
Well, Michael Cantu will be behind the plate as you take a look at the weather. 66 degrees. The wind has really been blowing in since about the 4th or 5th inning of our first game today.
It's been falling in Minneapolis, down in the single digits now.
Unbelievable. And snowing. Let's get this thing going. And Modal kind of taking, your advice there and saying, I got to get something going.
I got to get something going. We've got to get a leadoff base with his speed. He's got good speed. He can do some different things. Good-looking athlete. Watching him take BP, he can spray the ball all over the field. Texas pitch has been really good against him.
Burnsville, Minnesota.
Good bender there for a strike.
73 miles per hour. Modal with 1 hit in the series. It's been tough going for Minnesota. The Texas pitching staff, starting pitching staff, has been much better than they were in the 4-game series against Rice. C.J. Hinojosa has had a lot of action. Nice pick by Tres Barrera, who is playing first after catching the first game.
Well, we talked a whole lot about Hollingsworth and mound presence, and this time C.J. sets his feet, throw a little bit low, but dug out by Barrera. Sometimes you have so much time as an infielder, you would much rather have that a close play because you get it and go. A lot of times you think about it a little bit.
Schaefbauer grounds right back to Hollingsworth. That's like the 3-point shooters that say, I don't want to think about it too long.
No, don't give me big open area. Have somebody coming after me where I got to get it up and get it out of my hands. Same way as an infielder.
So 2 quick outs here.
But going back to what we talked about in the first broadcast of the first game today about Josh Sawyer and trying to improve his mound presence, and one of the things that Chad Hollingsworth has an abundance of is he's got great mound presence. It doesn't look like much affects him on a call. He gets the ball, takes a deep breath, looks in for his sign, as you can see right now, and he's ready to go.
Quick worker.
Quick worker and great mound presence.
Matt Fielder is going to DH for playing right. Fielder had an opposite field hit in the 5-0 loss. Takes this to second. Marlowe's up with it. 1, 2, 3 for 31. Horns coming to the plate.
The long
Augie Garrido, 1,925 wins, most in college baseball. Horns are 5-2 at this point. Offense the last 3 games, 32 runs as we take a look at their lineup, and a true freshman getting his first start of his career, Patrick Mathis, a talented left-handed bat.
Well, you look at him, he is a talented young man from Waco. He's getting his first start. He's got a couple of at-bats, but getting his first start, you're always excited to see those guys because there's some veterans around you in the lineup. He doesn't have to feel like he has to do anything special. Just go out, stay calm and relaxed, put the ball in play. I do like what's happening in the middle of this lineup. When you look at Boswell, Barrera, Shaw have really swung the bats well. Offensively, it's been the best start in a long, long time for the Texas offense. There's no doubt about it. I'm going back. You have to take starts when you're going back to the live ball era of college baseball.
They're going to be facing Tim Shannon. Big drink of water, 6'7", 220 pounds. He's from Hopkins, Minnesota, transferred from Michigan, and he is a redshirt sophomore. Ben Johnson will lead it off. Swinging at the first pitch. Michael Handel has been solid over there, and 1 pitch, 1 out. What do you know about the big guy?
Well, what we know is he's got a great arm slot. With it being 6'7", he throws downhill. He's got a good arm angle. He looks like he's probably more overpowering than he really is. He has thrown a lot of strikes in the past. He struggled at times. He didn't walk a lot of people, but we kept hearing about him being 1-0 and 2-0 and 3-1 and having to put the ball in the middle of the plate in his first outing, and that way his pitch count got very elevated, so he was out of the game pretty quick. He did pitch the game for the Gophers in Houston that they went to the late part of the game before they got beat. They were right in the ball game, so he did a good job in his first outing against a good Houston Cougar team in Houston.
Yeah, they lost that Sunday game 5-4. Colin Shaw looks to continue his torrid streak. Senior from right here in Austin from Westlake. It's low, 1-1. You've talked about some of the mechanics that you've seen, his front side and some of the changes Colin's made, but I think the other thing you talk about a lot that's obvious, his confidence is pretty high.
Oh, his confidence is playing hard. He's confident, but I do like his stance and his approach. He's not tying himself up on the ball middle part of the plate in near like he has in the past.
Fastball in there for strike 2.
Slowed down a little bit on that changeup that time. That's an indication, something he's working on. At 6'7", you just can't slow your body down. As a hitter picks that up pretty quickly, he slowed down a little bit, showing the change that time.
3-2. Got him. Nice pitch for a strikeout, and Shaw's down.
His arm angle, it reminds you a whole lot of a great pitcher for Texas last year, Morgan Cooper, who is injured right now. He's got to see that ball came down. It starts out up, and the ball actually seems to be coming down the whole way, and that's because of his 6'7" height. Watch this ball right here, what it looks like. Ball looks like it's sinking the whole way. There's no sink to that, but it's just the flight and the plane of the ball.
C.J. Hinojosa.
When you hear pitching coaches talk about arm slot, he's got a great arm slot and height. That makes it difficult.
C.J. took a good hack at that. Fouls it out play. A great crowd for game 1. People still filing back in. It's a perfect night for baseball. 66 degrees. And it's single digits in Minnesota right now.
And falling.
1-1.
You see good fastball hitters, and C.J. Hinojosa is good fastball hitters. When they're tardy on a pitch, they're just not picking it up. They're not, you know, the ball's getting on top of them quicker than they anticipate.
Is that a timing issue you can deal with throughout the game?
Well, the more you seam, the better off you'll be. But right now, the ball is coming out clean.
This is off the glove. It's going to be a tough play. Handel is charging, and CJ beats it out. Well, once it got over the big 6'7" Shannon and off his glove, Handel really had no chance.
Well, he played it exceptionally well, Kevin, but you're right. The sinker away, topped over the top of it. And when Shannon couldn't come up with it, you know, you need one of those every once in a while. CJ sits the balls awful hard and not gotten a lot for it. And a lot of times that's just the type of hit that might set you off to a 3 or 4 hit night.
Brooks Marlowe now up. Do you think about running with CJ here?
I think about running anytime I see a guy 6'7". Just because it takes him a long time to uncoil to get the ball to the plate. So I'm always thinking about running against tall pitchers. He was about 1.5, 1.6 right there to the plate. don't have a radar. I don't have a stopwatch.
You got it in your head, though.
But I've just played enough to see that took him a while to get untangled.
And 1-2, 1-3 is where you want to be?
Yes.
Now, if you look at Ryan Russ at first, he does have a stopwatch, and he is making sure he knows how quick Shannon is to home.
Now, with a 2-0 count, though, with your hitter at the plate, you want to let that guy get a good look at the fastball right here.
You got a good look at it for a strike.
Now, it's a good time to run 2-1. Remember Jim Bibby, big right-hander, Randy Johnson facing him. That arm slide, it's just hard to get on top of it. You just try to make sure you get your hands up, but the ball's just got enough that it's hard to get on top of it.
I'll give you another big guy that'll scare you right now just because I know you've talked about him. How about J.R. Richards?
Oh, that was nasty stuff. Nasty.
Or Dave Winfield pitching.
Dave Winfield, yeah, he had some nasty stuff as well. Everybody thinks of him. He's a Hall of Fame outfielder. Played with 2 organizations and won world championships and drafted in 4 sports. But he's probably one of the best collegiate pitchers I've ever seen.
He had 2 lights-out games in Omaha. Marlowe sends this down the left field line.
It was in '73. He pitched a great game, came out of the game with a big lead, went out to left field, and USC came back in the game, and they had the tying run at second base, and they came back out to get him, and Winfield said, no, I don't want to, I can't go no more.
Wow. Throw down, Hinojosa does take off, and he is out. Nice throw by Halloran. So CJ trying to take second is cut down. We've played 1, and we are scoreless. Nice defense from the Gophers. But when you think Minnesota athletics, you probably think about that guy, Dave Winfield. Arguably, and it's a strong argument, the best college athlete ever.
One of the best, there's no question. A great basketball player. I was first-team All-American on the same team with him in '73. He was a 12-time All-Star, as you can see. The only guy that I've ever seen drafted by 4 different major franchises. NBA,
he didn't play football.
Major League Baseball. Didn't he play? Never played, and then NFL said that'd be a great tight end, and he would have.
Yeah.
Stood as far off the plate as anybody I've ever seen. Had great extension through the ball, tremendous power to right and right center.
Chad Hollingsworth has to hurry up to make this play to get Toby Hansen, and he does. What else really stands out about Dave Winfield when you think about him as a pro career? Because you played against him a bunch.
Well, you know, he really played sort of out in San Diego and with not very good teams, and really nobody got a chance to see him when he was just a 5-tool guy. He could really run. He had power. He played in a huge ballpark at Jack Murphy at the time. Now it's called Qualcomm. He had big ballpark with high walls, hard to hit the ball in the park. He had great power to all places, but he was a tremendous outfielder. As you just mentioned, what a great athlete to go with it. I think by the time that he really got to with good teams, you know, he was later in his career, probably not as dynamic, still a great player, but not as dynamic. Not as dynamic as he was those first 7 or 8, 9 years in San Diego.
This is hit to right off the bat of Michael Handel. And Colin Shaw backs up. There's 2 outs. I think the most fascinating thing with Dave just is the fact that he did not play college football and the NFL drafted him. And people thought, like you said, that was a wise move.
Oh,
take a flyer on him.
If he'd have decided to play, he probably would have been in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a tight end.
Unbelievable. Yeah, there have been a lot of great players and coaches. Jerry Kendall, who won 3 national championships at Arizona, played at Minnesota. We're going to get into Paul Molitor more a little bit later. The tradition of Minnesota baseball.
Pretty good percentage of winning when they got to Omaha. They've been there 5 times. They've won the national championship 3 of the 5.
Yeah, exactly. That's been really kind of what people think about with Minnesota baseball is back then, but they did a lot of damage trying to get back up there right now. 1, 2, 3 for Chad Hollingsworth. He is rolling here in Austin. Well, welcome back. Texas and Minnesota have had a tradition of playing each other for a long time. It goes all the way back to 1924, and there is a lot of success in winning tradition between these two great baseball programs. Think about what Texas has done, winning 6 national championships. Minnesota has won 3. He was there for close to those. Texas leading, or Texas should be scoreless right now. So we head to the bottom of the second, and Texas offense going to try and get things going here. We got 4, 5, and 6 up as C.J. Hinojosa was thrown out. It'll be Marlowe, Barrera, and Boswell, and a big inning for Tim Shannon to come out and try and replicate what he did in the first.
Well, he's done a nice job of pouring in the strikes and pitching ahead. He struggled a little bit with that last week. He didn't walk anybody, but he was behind in the count. Well, he's come back here tonight, and he's been ahead early. His pitch count's efficient. That was the 17th pitch of the ball game already. And you see his fastball again. It's about his height and that arm slot and that angle. You have to adjust as a hitter. You see a lot of balls already seeing popped up, going up and away to the opposite side of the hitter. That means they're having a tough time getting on top of it.
Brooks is 2 for 7 in the series.
When you want to climb the ladder, that's a good note for young pitchers. And you say, all right, 2 strike, 0-2 count. I want to throw a high fastball, see if a guy go after it, see what happens after this pitch.
Marlowe skies this to shallow left field. Jordan Smith will come on to make the play, and there's 1 out.
Shannon did a great job right there of 0-2 when he came with the fastball. You come with a high fastball, but come over the plate. You know, a high fastball up and away does you no good. But when you come back right here, after that pitch, you can come back. It's just tough to get on top of. See, that's the off-speed pitch. He's just underneath it and pops it up. That's the change. You can see Marlowe out in front, off balance, and the only way you can do is lift at the end of it.
Brings up Barrera, sophomore from Eagle Pass, Texas. A lot off of that.
Good pitch right there. Break a ball in a 1-0 count.
Swing and a miss. Trace saw 30 pitches on Friday and saw only 8 pitches in the first game today.
But he hit the ball hard.
He did.
You know, he was seeing it well.
Tried to dot the corner and just missed.
Wow. That's one of those things where you go, wow, that's too close to take for me.
That was too close to take. Handle with a nice play to throw out Barrera. There's 2 outs. These big righties look good so far.
Handle does a nice job of tacking. We talk about it all the time. You've got to attack as a shortstop. Picks it, sets his feet, throwing on the run, chest high throw. In those scenarios, you're closing the distance that you have between you and first base. You don't have to have a great arm in that situation. It was all about his attack and approach to come get the ball.
Here's Brett Boswell. Boswell was hitless in the first game of the doubleheader. Freshman from Rockwall, Texas, 6 feet, 190 pounds, as Keith mentioned in the first game. He's used that redshirt year when he had a wrist injury last year to add some weight, get in the weight room, and we've seen that with his pop. That ball he hit Friday night with the wind blowing left to right, that had a lot of...
Oh, it's out of here on a normal night.
1-2, and Keith's big point with Shannon was to get ahead, and he has been living ahead.
He's had Texas off balance, really doing a nice job of spotting his fastball. That's a great location right there. We talked about in his first outing, he had a good fastball, but he was behind so much that he had to stay in the middle of the zone a lot. But tonight he's been ahead, so he's been able to pitch to the corners.
1-2 down the right field line, and that's going to fall fair. Boswell rounds first, and he is going to stop at second with a stand-up 2-out double.
Well, it's hard to teach this. You just got to have the instinct. He was fooled out in front on the change, but how he kept his hands back. The movement in his hands, he was able to stay back. Great eye-hand coordination. When you're out in front, your front side's down, but he kept his hands back long enough that he could throw the head of the bat, even though he was off balance, and get enough jump to make the ball jump off his bat. That's why I think he's going to be a really good hitter.
Given hitting instructions to a lot of youngsters and high school players for a long time. You can't teach that?
No. It's instinct, and we'll give you a chance to see this swing in a moment. And
Michael Cantu takes the strike.
He comes to the plate right here. You'll see as he comes up. Watch his front side right here. It's pulls out, but his hands are back. That allows him to bring those hands forward, right at contact, and have enough to drive it into the outfield. So many times as a guy comes forward with your body and you're fooled with the velocity, their hands come with you. You got no chance to hit. But if you go forward and your hands are back, you still have a chance.
RBI opportunity for the freshman from Moody High School. It's underneath this and hits it deep to center, but going back is Moto. He gave it a run, got under it just a little bit, and the wind certainly did not help. So a two-out double for Brett Boswell, but Shannon strands him.
Stephanie.
I-35. He doesn't move that fast since the 80s.
Texas down Austin.
And Minnesota scoreless as we head to the third inning. This is game number 3 of the series, game 2 of the doubleheader. Texas took the first one earlier, 5-0. A good crowd out here, and why not? 66 degrees. Just a great night to play baseball. A great day to go ahead and play too.
Now, while you say that, I will take the time to wish the Banks family my condolences. We lost a good one and a good friend. I've known him a long, long time in Ernie Banks, and he'll be missed, I promise you.
Absolutely back up those statements. I think just as I'm a Cubs fan, so I was born to love Ernie Banks, but baseball fans and baseball people just have so many great things to say about the man that he was.
Well, I tell you, I had the opportunity just last year to it to this point after this pitch. He and I was emceeing a banquet in Peoria, Illinois, and the guest speaker with me who came on the trip was Ernie Banks, and we had about a 2.5-hour trip down from Chicago in a limousine talking, and I was amazed. And we were there until about 12:30 at night. He signed everybody there that wanted something to sign. He stayed there.
And that's everybody.
Everybody. Impressive.
Wow. Keith analyst, 12-year. Keith Moreland, our analyst, 12-year Major League Baseball career, and also what you've been able to do outside of baseball with doing, obviously, radio for WGN. You've gotten in that community and been in that community, and it seems like Ernie Banks was, no one disliked Ernie.
He was Mr. Chicago.
Yeah, he was. That's when he backhanded by Marlowe. It's going to be a tough play, and he cannot make it. So Tony Shefty is the first base runner for Minnesota.
Well, Brooks is as good as anybody in college baseball at second base. He just took a little bit of an unusual hop, and he's right here. He knows he's got to hurry to get him. Shefty runs real well, and just the exchange right there from his glove to his throwing hand, just couldn't make that exchange, and a leadoff base runner for the first time.
Quick throw over. Minnesota 4 for 5 stealing bases this season, and Hollingsworth has been throwing strikes. 17 strikes, 3 balls so far as he faces the freshman Alex Boxwell. Boxwell's a good-looking young hitter for them. Came in the weekend actually leading the club in hitting.
Very balanced. Open stance, wide stance, but he does a nice job of getting his weight shift. Sprays the ball. And as he, again, he's an 18-year-old young man, as he ages, he'll get some strength. He may have some power.
Shefty's going to take off, and CJ just couldn't squeeze it. And that's CJ's problem there, because Michael Cantu threw a nice ball down there.
He just tried to put the tag down too quick. Sometimes as an infielder, just watch CJ right here at the end take his eye right off of the baseball. He knows he's got time, tries to make his tag. See his eyes come down right before he secures the baseball. Sometimes you get in a hurry to make the tag, and his eyes just look. Watch the bill of his cat come down right before the baseball got there and just took his eye off of it.
1-2 now. This is what you talked about with Minnesota. They need to get that run in first, and they need to get out ahead, as you see Shefty with his first stolen base of the year. 1-2. Blows it by him for a strikeout.
Boy, a big one at the time, too. Nothing fancy about that. He reached back about belt high and just got the fastball by him. Had a little hop to it right there. Boxwell just couldn't catch up to it. That's a big strikeout.
It's a really big strikeout. And
after the wild pitch and the mistake.
Comes up the 9-hole hitter, Jordan Smith.
Smith can really run. He'll shorten up defensively when he's at the plate because he gets down the line as well as anybody.
Played a really good left field. Catches the zone, 1-1. Minnesota 0 for 24 with runners on in the series, and they're 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position.
It's hard to get your offense going when you're not, after you get a base runner, you're not getting any hits.
To left, slicing. Johnson makes the play, and there's 2 outs. Not always the easiest play for a left fielder there.
Well, when you have a northeast breeze too, that ball's pushing to the line. But one of the things you work on when you play in the outfield, you know that every ball hit to your right as a left fielder, as you're looking in, is always going to go to the line. So you can always break in that direction.
2 outs, top of the lineup. Dan Modal. Modal to center. Gurwitz froze for a bit, but Chad Hollingsworth able to work out of the single. To the bottom of the third we go. Patrick Mathis is making his first collegiate start. He has 2 at-bats, a 6-foot, 193-pounder from Waco, Texas. Left-handed hitter. Augie really likes him and feels like he can be an impact offensively. We saw Joe Baker get his first career start, and he was pretty good. Got a base hit.
You know, all these guys have got the opportunity. They're Division I players. They're going to push people. And that's the other thing. When you have competition to play, it makes everybody step up to the next level. I'm excited to see him. He runs well. He's working on getting his front side down.
It's this to center. Modal is there.
It shows you right there. He did get that front side down. The barrel came right through and got on top of that fastball. He's hit it the wrong spot.
Brings up the 9 guy, Zane Gurwitz. .58 sophomore.
I've been impressed with Tim Shannon. I got to tell you, he has shown me that he's a guy that can do a lot of different things. He's been able to throw his breaking ball for a strike. He made a mistake there and got away with it, but he hasn't made many mistakes up. He's been able to change planes up and down and in and out with his fastball. He's been impressive so far.
Seems to be changing it up pretty well too. I don't see an obvious pattern with him. Now, you probably do, but 0-2 comes in and gets him.
Again, that's
second strikeout.
He's able to move the ball around the zone. He's got great mound presence. Look at, get the ball back right there. Toes the rubber. This is a good tailing fastball, 2-seamer in a great location, and ties up a good fastball hitter right there. You could see him try to pull his hands in, just tied him up.
2 outs for Ben Johnson. Ben grounded out to short back in the first.
And it's not one of those max effort guys. A lot of guys that are tall, he's very compact with his windup. He drops his hands down and comes back, gets in a good position, balance right there, and drives to the plate.
One of the guys we talked about, Texas guy back in the day in the mid-90s, Ryan Chose, who is actually from the state of Minnesota and was a 6'6" guy, came down here. I remember it was always trying to repeat the mechanics. It was tougher for him because of his size.
You're right. A lot of those guys, as Ben Johnson hit with a pitch, I would think he would be off here early in this at bat trying to get a base, especially against a big guy that takes time to unwound. You always hope that guys, you're looking for guys that are tall. Stanford, the Cardinal, Stanford. Well, when the Longhorns play next week, they'll have 4 guys that are 6'5" and up pitching.
Yeah.
They just always have those big right-handed pitchers or left-handed pitchers that are big guys. And one of the things they work on all the time is to have very compact windups and motions where they're repeatable. Because it is difficult, the taller you are, if you get a little bit off balance, you're going to fall forward to the plate. And just a little bit of a fall forward is going to elevate the ball, and that gets in the hitting zone.
Interesting stuff. As Coach Anderson definitely wanted to find out what the call was there. He thought that may have hit the bat.
Just nicked off the inside of his jersey and his right elbow. You can see that jersey move, so you knew it. Got a piece of it.
Well, let's see if he's taken off early here. Shaw swinging at the first pitch.
And that's as a 2 outs, and you come to the plate and you're hot like Shaw. Hey, this guy's going to throw me a fastball first pitch. They think this guy's going to run. He was ready for it. Just couldn't get on top of it. Look for pitch out right here. I would not be surprised to see pitch out. Not now. You throw over, that negates the pitch out. But if you're going to just come set and come to the plate, an 0-1 count right there would have been a good pitch out count. Now I don't believe you'll pitch out because you've thrown over.
Pretty good lead for Johnson. They are going to throw over again. Yeah, very rare you see that, Keith. A couple throwovers and then a pitch out.
Yeah.
That's the definition of taking someone by surprise.
And that's a good move. You throw over twice, then come set and hold, step off.
Saw C.J. Hinojosa steal a bag on Ben Meyer last night, where he did not change up the rhythm, and there's a pitch out.
Yeah, most of the time you don't see that. I felt like the pitch out was coming if he doesn't throw over.
Right.
But after he threw over twice and stepped off, I didn't think he'd pitch out. Well, after you pitch out, you're supposed to go to the next pitch.
It's not going.
Johnson did not get a break. I think he was free to go and he thought about it. He just didn't get a good break that time.
One and 2 count on Colin Shaw. And Johnson was a perfect 21 for 21 stealing bags a year ago.
This is a great lesson for young pitchers. You just got to disrupt the runner's timing, and you do that by doing different things. Come set, go quick. Come set and hold. Come set, hold, step off. Throw over. Just try to keep the runner from timing your delivery.
Especially if you are 1-5 to the plate like he is.
Yes.
Good lead by Johnson. He's taken off, and he got a great jump. This is hit to left. It's carrying, and this is going to slice foul. And Johnson had that one stolen. But with 2 strikes, you got to obviously protect.
That's a little more. He got an outstanding jump. Shaw did a little more to protect. He had a good swing. Boy, look at that. 4 full steps before the ball came out of Shannon's hands.
outfield playing straight away.
Smith pretty deep in left, but Shaw's doubled twice deep to left in this series.
Johnson not running. Only play will be to first, and that will end the inning. Then Johnson gets on, but Shannon strands him. We're back here in Austin. All ages here, scoreless as we head to the fourth inning. Third of the game is done, and we only have 3 hits. It's been all about pitching. Chad Hollingsworth for Texas has been awesome. And on the flip side, Tim Shannon, the big 6'7" footer for Minnesota, he's been dynamite as well.
Both these guys have really dominated the game. They've been down, pitching ahead, changing speeds.
2, 3, and 4 due up. Connor Schaefbauer. Takes a strike. Well, you said Hollingsworth stuff, it's not going to blow you away, but there is a moxie to him on the mound.
Oh, there's no question. He has great mound presence, and his stuff's going to get better. I mean, there's no question. He's still building arm strength. He was down all fall. He was trying to rebound. He's done a nice job to make his starts at this point, and you can tell he's getting more and more confident, and as he gets stronger, his fastball is going to get better. Boy, he is a guy, though, that knows how to pitch and change speeds. And, you know, sometimes you get people out by your moxie. He gets it, look at him. He's ready to go right there. And as a hitter, you're thinking, man, this guy thinks he's going to get me out.
It's only the 9th ball he's thrown this game to go with 24 strikes. Down on the count, 3-1. Leadoff walk for Schaefbauer.
Now he's going to go here. There's going to be some hit and runs. If you've been shut out basically without an earned run that your offense has earned in what now 21 innings, as a manager you say, I've got to do something. I either got to bunt in this situation. You could see bunt here, or you got to put somebody in motion. You got to create something. Try to put some pressure on the defense.
Minnesota 0 for 26 with runners on in this series. Schaefbauer can run. 2 stolen bases on the season for him.
All right, here's a great count to hit and run right now. 1-0. Can't pitch out. More than likely it's going to be a fastball. And Skip Johnson doesn't like something. He's seen something again. This is a mechanical thing. And so he's going to go out and have a conversation with his big right-hander.
Well, the 4-game series against Minnesota will conclude tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central. See if the Horns either go for the sweep or if they're going for the series win. Game 4 of the series Sunday at 1 Central right here on Longhorn Network. We expect to see Mr. Casey Clemens going for Texas, and he clearly wants to get back on the hill after his outing back at home in Houston.
Well, and I think he will. I think that was a pretty tough start for him. I mean, obviously the numbers say it was a pretty tough start, but not the greatest place to have your first career pitching start in your hometown.
Against a very experienced lineup, and your dad, who happened to win 7 Cy Youngs, is in the crowd. I'm guessing that when people face Casey, there's a little extra motivation to try and get a hit.
It's got to be a little better probably than the next guy.
Five straight balls for Hollingsworth after peppering the zone with strikes. Just misses inside.
And this just does miss. A 2-seamer rides just off the plate in.
To center field, Gerwitz has it. 1 out. Well struck by fielder, but right at Zane Gerwitz.
As a team, they got to feel really like they're snake bit, because they've hit some balls hard with runners on base and in scoring position. There's nothing to show for it so far.
Brings up Toby Hansen. Will be grounded back to Hollingsworth in the first and the second. Oh for 27 now with runners on. 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Schaefbauer led the club with 13 stolen bases a year ago. He was 13 for 15. Keith, I'm still waiting for them to get something going here.
Well, he has not been able to read Hollingsworth at this point. He hasn't had that tendency where he's even trying to get a jump at this point.
The other thing, even though it's a freshman catcher, Mike Cantu can throw the baseball, and I think they saw that earlier.
Well, this is another hit and run count. I'm not sure that they'll be doing it, but I'd be thinking about trying to find a way to put some pressure on the Texas defense. It's been outstanding so far in the series, but still, when the runner starts moving, all of a sudden you can make things happen.
Foul tip into the mitt. The other thing too, if you want to get a good jump like the lead Ben Johnson had, you want both feet on the green part of the turf.
Well, that's getting about a 12.5, 13-foot lead, and that's a big lead. So you're figuring you're trying to outrun the baseball for 86, I mean, excuse me, 76, 77 feet.
1-2, struck him out. And for the leadoff walk, a line out, now a strikeout.
Well, this is a nice job. Fastball just turned over. You can see it right at the mid. Watch this ball run away from the left-hander. You can see that little bit of run. Left-hander, Hansen opens up just a little. The ball runs away from him, swings over the top of it.
2 outs now for Michael Handel, the shortstop. Flied out to Colin Shaw in the second.
Hollingsworth's doing a nice job of throwing over, changing his cadence, coming to the plate. One time he comes set, goes quick. One time he's set and holds, as he does here, holds a little longer. It's just hard to read as a runner. What's he going to do? Just as a pitcher, a young pitcher especially, come set, vary your delivery times. Come set, go quick. Come set and hold. Come set and hold 1-2 and go. Come set and hold, step off. There's so many ways to slow the running game down.
Schaefbauer takes off. Here comes the throw. And he got him. A seed from Cantu. Marlowe lays down the tag. Not sure too many people will be running on 7 during his time on the 40.
Well, watch this. He comes up, no doubt about it. Throws to the bag in time.
Welcome back. We're scoreless in Austin. Some great matchups going on around the country. Preston Morrison was dominant last night. TCU gets the win. Arizona State wins today 8-7, so they're split. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State doing some damage against the Washington teams. And Kansas State very close against Oregon State, lost 10-9. It's going to be a good year in the Big 12 this year.
It is going to be a good year. There's 38 games scheduled between the Pac-12 and the Big 12 throughout the preseason this year. Texas obviously will play Stanford. It ought to be interesting because I really believe that we're seeing a shift of more teams out west being involved in college baseball than we've seen. Obviously, there's been some good teams in the Big 12, Texas for sure. And then you look at the Pac-12's had some good teams and what's going on there with Oregon State and UCLA and Stanford being over the years. But we're seeing the dominance become more and more. I mean, everybody talks about the SEC and the ACC, and yes, they're good programs within those conferences, but I think there's a shift coming more. I think those are really important to see what the final totals in those 38 games are. Because the committee will be watching those final totals, I guarantee you.
The ACC probably needs to win a national championship that's not 1955 in Wake Forest before they want to get into that national picture all the way. They play very good baseball, obviously. You look at the Big 12 teams, though, in the USA Today top 25. C.J. Hinojosa flail at that, and there's one out. But TCU is all pitching, pitching, and pitching. They're going to be pretty dirty.
They're going to be good. There's no question they've got great pitching. I think they'll get better offensively. They had a good recruiting class come in. Obviously they, in my opinion, have the premier closer in college baseball without a doubt.
Yeah.
And then they've got a great front line in Preston Morrison, who, well, I think is a first-team All-American.
Preston, another brilliant outing last night. Only gave up 3 hits, and of course didn't break any pane of glass, but it didn't matter. He just pitches and pitches and pitches. Texas facing some pretty good pitching in this one. Tim Shannon has been lights out. Only given up 2 hits. Single to C.J. Hinojosa and also a double to Boswell, but both were stranded. This is a deep fly ball to right, going back, it's gone. Brooks Marlowe, a solo homer, and Texas is on the board.
Shannon has been outstanding. He makes a mistake here, though. Marlowe keeps his hands back. And boy, this is into the teeth of the breeze. Changeup, but leaves it upstairs. And Marlowe gets great extension on it right there. You can see him extend. Just hoping he could get through the breeze into the Texas bullpen. And the Longhorns are on the board.
That's a great point, Keith. When it left his bat, it reminded me of a Kieschnick shot back in the day that you knew it was gone, but you knew with the wind, I thought,
this is a tough breeze to
I don't know if it's going to
here.
fight through it. And it did. Some serious pop from the senior from Giddings. Speaking of pop, Trace Barrera fouls that out of play. One more look at this, Keith.
Well, he comes back and he's trying to change speeds right here. Just trying to change speeds, leaves it up. It doesn't look like a changeup, but it didn't come out of his hands. It was about 5 or 6 miles an hour slower than his normal fastball. He just made a mistake with it up. The bullpen was excited when it hit the bullpen, weren't they?
They were. I think they would have been more excited had he gone a little left and hit the free taco bullet. And if you hit that, you get a free taco from Taco Shack.
There you go.
I'm assuming they get a freebie, right? If you hit it.
It says free taco right there. Is that the hitter or the whole ballpark?
I don't know. It's like hitting the bowl, right?
That's it.
Marlowe showed pop his freshman year. Talked about yesterday the 2 homers against Marcus Stroman. It's okay for him to show his pop, but Augie wants him to run into balls, not try to hit balls out.
Well, I don't think he was trying right there, but he put a good swing on it.
Trace lays off of that, counts even. Marlowe hit 14 home runs his senior year at Giddings. That's the 7th home run of his career at Texas. Line drive to right center. This is going to be in. Barrera rounds first. It goes all the way to the wall. Trace is thinking 3. He's going to go. The relay, not in time. A triple for Trace Barrera.
Well, there's a lot to do with hustle and spirit and want to. But again, Barrera, watch him, takes this ball away from him. Just extends his arm, but right there, he's thinking, he knows it's into the gap. And he puts his head down, knowing that if I go hard, I got a chance. By the time it's cut off, it's right against the wall. He's already made the decision to make the move toward third. Misses the relay. It's not a good relay. And all of a sudden in scoring position. But right here is where he's thinking, I know it's in the gap, and he's going right there. And he makes the decision. You're not looking at a coach. You're making that decision yourself. Head first into third.
Now, this isn't a shot at catchers, but a lot of catchers don't run as well as other players, and Trace will be the first to admit that. You saw the smile with he and Nicholson at the very end there, but it doesn't matter how fast you are if you hustle, right?
Right. It's all about how you leave home plate. And that is his 4th of his career and the 1st of the season. But he did a nice job right there. All of a sudden, Texas offense is starting to heat up again.
The bullpen getting loose. This Gilbreth. Well, and just as Tim Shannon was rocking and rolling, he gives up a solo shot to Marlowe, and now a triple, and the infield is in with Brett Boswell, who doubled his last time up. This is to right field, and another hit for Boswell. Coming in is Barrera. Boswell's looking for his second double, and he's got it.
We talked all weekend about slugging percentage. It's a fastball out over the plate. Boy, does a nice job right here. Front side down, extension, and just drives it into the gap in right field. How about in this inning? Homer, triple, double. They're a single way for hitting for the cycle in the inning. But the slugging percentage, that's what leads to a lot of runs scored if you can slug. And this team, again, right now, with a triple, double, homer.
In that order. And 2. Fielded at third by Shefty. Oswald at second now with 2 outs. Here's Patrick Mathis. Texas outscoring Minnesota 20-2 now in this series. Let's take a look at the true freshman from Waco getting his first collegiate start. Augie said he's been really impressive in scrimmages, and as Keith said, this is the first time probably in 2005, 2006 that Augie really feels like he's got serious Division I athletes and more than 8 of them.
Yeah, where there's going to be, competition for playing time. Who's going to fit into each role? It helps you because at some point guys are going to get dinged up a little bit, have some depth,
or maybe just go in a slump for a little while. Pitch in there for strike 2. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 in for Texas here in the 4th. Ring him up. Mathis is down looking, but Texas gets on the board thanks to number 8, his 7th career home run. It was a Brooks Kieschnick shot off the bat, but the wind tried to knock it down. Couldn't do it. 2-0 Texas. Longhorns get 2 in the bottom of the 4th. They lead Minnesota 2-0. Now joining us is head coach Augie Garrido. And coach, so far in this series, your pitching staff has pitched 22 innings, given up 10 hits, no earned runs, and 16 strikeouts. What have you seen from them compared to last week?
Well, I think that they're just more relaxed. I see better ball movement, more consistency inside the strike zone, and taking the corners both inside and outside to get ahead on the counts, and mixing up their pitches in a more relaxed way.
And offensively, coach, you see your hitters the second time through, some adjustments that they made to get your pitcher. It's a good-looking young right-hander. Not a little one, though. He's a big one.
Yeah. They did make some good adjustments in that inning, and it takes a little while, especially after, a long first game and then kind of a in-between intermission, and we haven't done that very much, and I think that they lost a little focus, but his pitching is good as well, so hopefully we can continue to make adjustments.
Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
To center, Augie will be happy that the first thing that he looks at is, well, there's 1 out.
Boy, you're right about that, but I do think that there were some adjustments that guys made, because Tim Shannon was impressive to me, and he may still be in the game, but did a nice job. They made some adjustments, and that second time around, you can see everybody has pretty much made pretty good contact. Going back to Ben Johnson being hit with a pitch from that point on, everybody made pretty good contact for the rest of the inning, and that was their second trip through.
It's a great point, Keith, and that's something that obviously you as a 12-year major leaguer It's something that you guys would always think about. All right, we went through one. All of us saw, 9 of us saw one inning as Gurwitz goes back. He's got room, make the play, and there's 2 outs. Is that something where you guys are really talking about that on the bench?
Got to. If you're not communicating with each other, I mean, you're not playing. It's a team game. And if he's doing something, hey, what did he do to you last time? Well, he just did this to me. The ball's doing this. Hey, well, move a little bit in the box. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe come off the plate if he's handling the inside corner. You're just talking to each other and making adjustments throughout the game. If you're not making adjustments, you're not trying.
I like it. Matt Halloran is up. Halloran, excuse me, this is actually going to be Shefty. Those 2 outs came quickly. Both to Zane Gurwitz. Chad does look a lot more comfortable than he did a week ago, and I think your point is even probably more apt, that he just looks a little healthier, just like he's got more stamina.
He's got more stamina. He's got more stuff. He's trusting his stuff again. You can see him. He's very comfortable. Working down on the zone, too.
Cantu liked that, too. We're going to miss low. Keith said that a million times. This is going to be a Zane Gurwitz inning. Zane makes all 3 outs with a little bit of help from Chad Hollinsworth. We go to the bottom of the 5th. 2-0 Texans. Had a heck of a game here. Well-pitched game. Texas leads Minnesota 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Joining us now in his 34th season is head coach John Anderson. John, we really appreciate you taking some time. I want to talk to you about your big right-hander, Tim Shannon. He's looked brilliant to us. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, he's been outstanding. He's mixed 3 pitches, and he's attacked the strike zone with the fastball. Pretty good fastball command. Made a couple of mistakes there. Give their hitters some credit. But he's a guy that had Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago. He's coming back, and he's finally getting back into his pitching form.
Coach, I know when you're not scoring any runs and doing that thing, are you thinking about doing some things differently? Maybe put some guys in motion, try to create some energy for your offense?
Try to hit them where they're not. We've hit a lot of balls at them so far. So
yeah.
I don't know. Guys are swinging pretty good. They're making contact. They've been aggressive. And what are you going to do? That's baseball. It's humbling sometimes.
Yeah, Coach, it is. We've been talking about that. You've hit a lot of balls right at people. It's been fun to watch you. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Well, Augie said the same thing. He said in the Rice series, he said, you know, they got a lot of balls that went through, and we hit a lot of balls at people.
Yeah,
Just hit
them where they ain't, just like Coach said right there. Well,
here is Zane Gurwitz. He's going to lead off after recording all 3 outs in the top half of the inning. We're going to get to his defense a little bit, because you think about the Calvin Murrays, the Drew Stubbs, the guys that have played this spacious center field so well. It's amazing that a guy who's a third baseman and maybe his best spot is at second base, he's played some right field, can go play center and play it as well as he has so far.
Yeah, well, we'll get to it, and that is important, because you look at a senior that played 4 years in center field before that, and before that you had a Drew Stubbs in center and Mark Payton and Stubbs. You're absolutely right. So it is you have to have a guy in center field. If you're not strong up the middle, and it starts in center, you got to be strong at second, short, catch, and center. Those are the defensive positions you got to be really good. And Zane's done a nice job of adapting into that role.
He has had some problems going up against Shannon. That's the second strikeout that Zane has had, and both have tied him up.
Well, this is a tough pitch inside, climbing the ladder. Shannon's been impressive. Again, he made a mistake to Marlowe. I really thought the pitch to Boswell that drove in the second run was a pretty good pitch, and Boswell just did a good job of hitting right there. But obviously the pitch to Marlowe, he made a mistake up.
He's had a couple good pitches to Brett Boswell, but like you said, Boswell's so good at keeping his hands back that he's able to get a hit out of it. Ben Johnson grounded out, was also hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning. From Westwood High School. Was an all-state quarterback, was an all-state punter. His dad ran track at Notre Dame. It's one of those things you go through the resume. I'm not sure there's a family member that did not play a D1 sport.
He's a good athlete, and he's becoming a very good baseball player. I expect him to have a big year.
I would think, too, with his athleticism, skill level may not be where they want it. Pro scouts are well aware of Ben Johnson.
Oh, they do. It's time to first start with that. Speed's never had a bad day.
That was a good Gus quote about Calvin Murray he used to give. I believe Darrell Royal used to give that as well, as Ben Johnson has now been hit twice. But the ex-football player not feeling too much pain.
Fastball rides in. He's wearing a brace. Catches him right on that pad on his left elbow. Another opportunity right here to put some pressure on the defense to get Johnson in motion.
Mentioned 21 for 21 a year ago was Ben Johnson. Last time he was up, tried to take off once and had it stolen by a mile. But Colin Shaw, 2 strikes, fouled the ball off. Shaw looking for his first hit in this game. 4 doubles already in this series and 6 on the year.
Well, the window is closing on the big right-hander right here. He needs to try to keep his team in the game right now. His pitch count's getting elevated up to 73 at this point.
And then coming off of TJ a couple years ago, you're still probably keeping him early on in the season.
Most right now, second start's a 75-80 pitch count.
Pitch out.
First start usually is in that 55 to 65, according to how you're doing. Second one is 75 to 80. Third one will be 90 to 95, and then by the time you go out to at the end of the first month of the year, if you're a starting pitcher, you should be able to go 100 plus.
Shaw hits this to left. It's got some carry. Smith is going over, and that's going to be out of play. Colin Shaw has hit the ball to left field very well this weekend.
Showing some power that way too.
Look at Colin Shaw. He's also a football player, a real good football player at Westlake, and needed to play some more baseball. And you can see the numbers have shown that reps have helped him out.
I think what's jumped off the page to me is just look at the extra base hits. A full season last year where he didn't have but 6 extra base hits. He's already got 8 in his senior campaign.
Line drive. It's fielded by Handel, and that's going to be a 6-4-3. That was hit pretty well, but Handel was shaded over. Got it on 1 hop. And Texas is done here in the 5th inning. We played 5-2 Texas.
John Fogerty says center field. Put me in, coach. And that's exactly what Zane Gerwitz has done. Playing center field, he's really done a nice job of adapting, replacing a senior in Mark Payton, a young man that really is an infielder by trade, but has done an outstanding job allowing the Longhorns to keep Colin Shaw and Ben Johnson in positions they're very comfortable with. He's got 9 putouts tonight in both ball games. He's really done an outstanding job, gets jumps on the ball, hits the cutoff man. And if he can maintain and roam center, that's going to help this outfield defense, which I think may be the best in the nation.
Wow. Well, when you got Shaw and Johnson as your corner guys, they have the athleticism to play center. And if Gerwitz can man that tough spot, especially here at the spacious Disch-Falk Field, that will certainly help out this defense, as Alex Boxwell is looking for his first hit. True freshman, down in the count, 0-2. Ring him up. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. And Alex Boxwell with a little lip there.
Well, he thought the ball was up and maybe out of the plate. Hollingsworth goes backdoor, brings it back. Felt like that ball was up and away. Get a chance to see it right here. Where it came back. Don't know if it was up, but it definitely had part of the plate as it crossed it.
71-mile-per-hour breaker to Jordan Smith.
Sometimes you like to see a young freshman, though, that Boxwell says, hey, I know this strike zone. He doesn't think it's a strike. It may be a strike, but you like the intensity that, hey, I didn't think that was a strike. Now, you don't want to see get ejected from the game or do that, but at least, hey, I didn't think that was a strike. I think that's all right to say to an umpire, in my opinion.
I agree with you, and I thought just by the reaction that he may have said something more. All I saw was no, no. Yeah. That's all right. That's an initial reaction. That's a fair ball, too. Johnson will cut it off, and nice job by Ben Johnson. We saw that in game 1. It looks like could be a double, and he holds a gopher to a single.
It's about your anticipation as an outfielder. You just don't believe this ball's going the other way. This is a double most of the time, but Johnson gets to it so quick with his speed. Watch him get rid of it, too. Up, ready to go, and makes it coming back in, where as a runner, when you round, you see the ball already headed back in. Ooh, I got to throw the brakes on, regardless if it's on time.
Right. Well, the throw he had in the earlier game wasn't on time, but he saw that the throw was already coming in. That's a foul ball.
And Coach Anderson did put on a little hit and run right there. I thought that sometimes as a manager, you just got to say, you know what? We get the opportunity. We're gonna attack here. We're not doing anything sitting back here trying to plug hits together. So we better try to do something different.
We saw Augie have to do that the last couple of years at times.
Got to put pressure on the defense.
Ty Colbreth getting loose in the pin. Hollingsworth has been great. Groundouts on the first 4 hitters since, 7 flyouts and 4 Ks. He's been lights out. In there for a strike, Dan Modal looking for his first hit. Keith talked about how the importance of Modal with his athleticism.
Well, he's the guy that can make them go. He just hasn't had but 1 hit in the series so far.
It's been tough going for Minnesota against his Texas pitching staff. Not gotten an earned run all weekend long. And only 2 runs. That came in the 13-2 loss last night.
Another good chance to run right here. Smith's got above average speed. 2-2 is another good count to run right now.
Got a good lead and got a good jump. Throw down there, and he got him. Nice scoop by C.J. Hinojosa, and Michael Cantu continues to show his arm. Strike him out, throw him out, Zonk.
That's a weapon. There's no doubt about it. Smith gets a big lead. How about this? This comes up, and this is a gun right on time.
Welcome back. Tim Shannon, his day is done. Heck of an effort, talking with the game 1 starter of the doubleheader, Dalton Sawyer. Both those guys gave pretty good outings, and you got to think that they're happy about Shannon and where he can go from this point on, considering still coming off of that Tommy John a couple years ago.
It's 2 years away, and usually that second year's when they bounce back. You saw the numbers there. Did give up 5 hits, made one mistake. I got to give Texas some credit for swinging the bat, but he did make a mistake to Marlowe that made him pay. But his offense just didn't give him much at this point. 5 innings of work, did not walk a Longhorn batter, but he does leave the game on the losing end at this point. And they're going to go to a left-hander. And Lucas Gilbreth, true freshman from Westminster, Colorado. And he'll be in charge of trying to keep this game close, as the Gophers have had a tough time crossing the plate in this series. Got to give credit to Texas pitching, but offensively, they just haven't been able to string anything together.
No, Texas pitching has gotten the best of them, and when they have squared one up, Texas has either played really good defense or it's been right at someone. 3, 4, and 5 due up for Texas, as Gilbreth once again on the same page with Halloran.
Well, sometimes it's hard to see the signs. Might be using flashes. You may have to go to whatever you want to use. A lot of times I would go pumps and say, all right, 2's a fastball, 2 pumps, 3 pumps, curveball, 4 pumps, slider. Just when the pitcher can't see your signals, you got to go to something to figure it out.
Did you ever paint your fingers? You see a lot of the catchers do that.
Back of your nails, you can definitely put some fingernail polish on.
Yeah, well, you still do. I wondered where you started that.
You know, that's doing makeup.
Yeah, I'm saying that as I have makeup on. Should probably watch out with that. 0-1 to Hinojosa. To short. Handel's been just solid over there all weekend long.
for a team that hasn't been outdoors but 3 days in Houston last weekend, all season long. They have to do everything inside with the weather they have in Minnesota, in a bubble where also the softball team works out. The track team also goes through it. You know, sometimes they have to work out 6 to 9 at night. There's their 3-hour window because the field's being used for different things. It's really difficult for them to get everything together. They play pretty exceptional defense. It's been impressive to me to watch because you know they haven't seen a lot of fly balls, and they haven't had a chance to work out other than the 2 pregame workouts this week here on the turf.
Yeah, I mean, 0 errors from both teams today. You would expect Texas to be further ahead because they have been able to field ground balls and been out here, but both teams have been flawless defensively today. That's in both of those games. Here's Marlowe, who got the first run of the game his last time up in the 4th. A solo home run to right. Not an easy night to hit one out to right. The wind is not doing you any favors. Four through 6 hitters for Texas. Game 1 struggled. Game 2 able to do what they should do in the meat of the order.
Well, I think if you go back and look at the keys of the game, I felt like the middle of the order had to start performing at a high level for this team to maintain and do what they've been doing. And you look at that, Marlowe, Barrera, Boswell been pretty good in that area.
Boswell's been great. He's 2 for 2 with 2 doubles and a ribby. This is going to get past Halloran, and this is going to be a nice play by Matt to get Brooks out at first. Had to hustle back there quickly, and he knew it was going to be a long throw.
Well, that's one of those where just underneath the hitter swings at it. It gets in that area where you just have a tough time seeing. I don't think he was anticipating this pitch.
I think he crossed him up.
I think he crossed him up. And that's what they're out there talking, because he's having a tough time seeing what's going on. A lot of times, like I said, you have to go to pumps. Sometimes you go to the second place I touch and say, mask is one thing, fastball, chest is another one, and say the second place I touch, and do it outside your body. You have to find a way to communicate with your pitcher. You cannot have lack of communication between a pitcher and a catcher.
Yeah, it's being on the road at LSU Stadium at night. You better have hand signals ready.
Something.
To left center. This is crushed. Does it have enough? Off the top of the wall. And Trace Barrera is up with a double. He hammered that thing.
Absolutely squared, as good as you can square it. High fastball, looking for it. Great extension. It tells you what the breeze is doing. New baseball or not, this wind, the only thing that held this into the park. Deepest part of left center, about 390 feet, a foot from the top. Can't hit a ball any harder than that right there.
Trace is thinking, what do I have to do?
This is right at the top of the wall, about 1.5 feet below the top. If he'd hit that last night or in the first ball game today, that's the 12th double of the series.
That would have been gone by
Oh, that's over the scoreboard.
That would have been absolutely crushed. You could see it from our angle the second it left the bat. The only question was the wind going to knock it down? Here's Boswell. He's 2 for 2. Another double would give him his second RBI. Just joining us, Boswell, redshirted last year, had to sit out with a wrist injury, but coaching staff kind of hinted last year that if he was in, he'd be playing somewhere. You can see why.
This young left-hander is going to help this Minnesota club. It's got a good arm.
I've actually been impressed with the talent of their arms. I think they've got some potential. Especially if Shannon can start like he did today. Like you said, Friday night starter Ben Meyer didn't seem like he had
his best stuff. He didn't have a good tilt. So you could tell didn't have the sink that he normally does, but you could see, you know, he's an experienced quality pitcher.
Yeah, he's a senior. The 2-2 to Boswell. Swings, and it's off the glove of Halloran. A little easier play for Matt, and Texas is done here in the 6th. A bomb, only a double for Barrera.
Here's tonight's game sundry, powered by the new Chevy Silverado. Chad Hollingsworth is outstanding to this point. He is out for his 7th inning of work. He's gone 6 innings, allowed just 2 base hits, struck out 5. Brett Boswell, 2 for 3, as you can see with the RBI. Brooks Marlowe got the horns on the board with a solo homer into the Texas bullpen. And what has been a very well-played game by both sides. Neither side has been able to really separate themselves in this ballgame, Kevin.
No doubt, Keith. I mean, it's been flawless defense, especially considering Minnesota, as we've brought up, has not had a lot of time outside. Their first practice outside was last Thursday in Houston.
Yep.
That says everything.
That's the first time they've seen fly balls.
Here's a fly ball. Texas has been able to see a bunch of fly balls. That one carrying and carrying. And Johnson able to make the play. Keith, you may have to look up every pitch to see where the wind's blowing.
You're right. This ball carried a long way. A nice play by Johnson, who turned the right direction. Young outfielders always turn. As he turns to the inside, the ball's going to be coming back to him. That allows him to take a look at it the whole way. He did not have to reverse pivot and turn back and look to the ball, so he turned to the inside, knowing the ball's going to be fading to him. It gave him the opportunity to make that play.
Some football skills showing up.
A little over the shoulder right there.
Ben was a quarterback. I'm sure he wasn't a bad wide receiver with his speed. 1-1 on Fielder. Fielder's 0 for 2. Matt DHing this game, played right in the first one. Not a physically overpowering player, but three and 1.
Bullpen is ready to go for Texas if Hollingsworth gets into trouble.
1 out walk, so Fiedler will take first.
Right now, I wouldn't be surprised to see Skip Johnson make a move right here with a left-hander coming to the plate.
That's on cue.
And bounces out. It just felt like he was going to leave Chad into the game until there was a base runner. And once he gets a base runner and a lefty coming to the plate, he's going to make a move to the pen.
Toby Hansen is due up, the lefty, who was 0 for 2 today. John Anderson's done a nice job, right, left, right, left, right, left in his lineup. So we'll see if Texas can maybe switch on that. Welcome you inside the booth. It's Kevin Dunn alongside Keith Moreland. We've had a great day of covering baseball. I hope you've had a great day of watching college baseball. We started this game off saying Chad Hollingsworth really wanted to build on the start he had against Rice. What do you think so far?
Well, he's done a nice job of that. He's built his confidence back. You can tell that he's getting stronger. He's going to get stronger with each start. As he went through the fall with a little bit of a dead arm situation, he was able to use all of his pitches today. The thing that I saw was Hollingsworth's mound presence was great again, much like we saw last year. Now, you take that, can he take that forward? I believe he can. Now, offensively, when you look at this game, both of these teams have faced a really good set of pitchers. I really thought Tim Shannon was outstanding in this ballgame, and Chad Hollingsworth's been brilliant. The defense has been very good behind him.
Defense has been good. Take a look at Brooks Marlowe. Chad helping himself out. And I got to say, Michael Cantu as a freshman catcher is impressive.
Well, he has. He's gunned down two different runners in the ballgame. One of the impressive ones was when you have a hit and run with 2 strikes and the ball's inside and you got to go around the hitter a little bit. and to gun a guy down to that was very impressive on a crescent moon night here at the Dish.
So Hollingsworth gives way to Ty Colbreth, a 5'10", 181-pound junior. He's from Bryan, Texas, and Ty gave Texas some really good innings, especially on the Friday night win when he came in to get a close last week against Rice.
You know, I think he can fit in so many different avenues. He can be a guy, he has the ability and the strength to go distance. He could go 3-4 innings if you need to be. He's also that guy that can come in and be a specialist and get that guy out when you need to get him out. But what I think he fits in is that veteran presence that doesn't matter if it's a left or a right or what inning is. Get the first guy out. When you come out of the bullpen, get that first guy out. That's what that pitching coach or manager who goes to get you say, look, I expect you to get this first guy out. Then we'll reevaluate.
We'll see where we're at.
Yeah, we'll see where we're at. But he has that ability to get a lefty or a righty out and that first guy he faces.
Parker French, Chad Hollingsworth, also Josh Sawyer, and Taylor Stell.
Those three right there have done a pretty good job this weekend. 0 earned runs from starting pitchers.
There's Toby Hansen, first pitch strike. Hansen is 0 for 2, grounded back to Hollingsworth, and also struck out in the fourth. Breaking ball misses. About how far the offense has come. Ty Colbreth was DHing at times last year.
You're right, and they were searching to try to find some offense, and not that he can't swing the bat a little bit.
He can, yeah. I think they want 38 on the mound if they're going to use him. Fastball in there for a strike. What do you come here 2-2 against a lefty?
Well, in this particular situation, I think Ty's fastball is his best pitch. I think he has the ability to move it around, but he does have a good breaking ball. I'm not going to say that, so I'd probably go fastball here.
Fiedler can run pretty well.
Colbreth is also a guy that's a rhythm guy. He likes to get the ball and go and stay in rhythm. And he did go with the fastball. I kind of felt like that was the right pitch. Now it changes when a guy fouls one off. Now it changes. You can go to your breaking ball, but the first time you get to 2-2, I'm going to get beat with what I think is my best.
Yeah.
Bender just stayed up.
Yep. Where he caught it looked good, but it was a little up when it crossed the plate. So count runs full to Toby Hansen.
This is an interesting call right here. I think, again, it's fastball. I think you got to challenge the lefty-lefty situation and challenge the young freshman right here.
This is a high fly ball to right field. Colin Shaw underneath it. That was a big league pop-up, but it's the second out.
You don't want to jinx anybody, but Minnesota still without a base hit with a runner on base. 0 for 30 in this series. Again, I'll repeat that. 0 for 30 with runners on. You're not going to win many ball games. Got to find a way to get some base hits with runners on.
These numbers are unreal. How about 1 for 22 with 2 outs, which is where they find themselves right now. Team leader Michael Handel is going to come up. Michael's had a rough weekend. Lined out to Gerwitz's last time up. Is also flied out to left. Hit 261 a year ago. Slugged over 400. Took a little off and they had the count 0-2. Lots you can do here.
Yeah, you can bounce the breaking ball, there's no doubt, or you can climb the ladder. But again, as I mentioned earlier, if you climb the ladder over the plate. You know, you don't want it hittable, but I'm talking about eye level over the center of the dish. That's usually the hitter goes, oh, I got to go. or you can backdoor the breaking ball. Tried to climb the ladder, got it too low.
Well, it's a good teaching lesson because even in college baseball, you see that waist pitch and it's not even close to being hittable. If you throw it over the plate but really high, it will change that eye level.
It does.
Outside, 1 and 2.
And you have a guy like Michael Cantu who's gunned down would-be base runners the entire game. You're not going to run here.
No.
And that all of a sudden that becomes a defensive weapon. It takes the running game away.
That was elevated right there.
And over the plate. You want to make it happen right here with whatever pitch selection you make right here. You want to make sure that it's in the strike zone. You want to throw a strike here with your best stuff.
Got him. Chased. And Minnesota is done here in the 7th. Ty Colbreth comes on to get the strikeout. Time to stretch him. We got a good one here. Texas leads Minnesota 2-0. Texas leads Minnesota 2-0. Cotton Eye Joe time. As it is a 7th inning stretch. Good crowd out here for both games. Michael Cantu, the true freshman, has been very impressive at the plate, but when he's behind the plate, maybe even more impressive, Keith.
Well, he just slows down the running game. He's done it a couple of times. I like the fact that he lets it go, understanding that it's not my job to cover second, my job to put it there on time, and he has done that exceptionally well in the games we've seen him behind the plate. He's thrown out 2 tonight, threw out 1 last week. He's picked a runner off already behind the plate. You have 2 guys in this lineup that have been alternating between first and behind the plate, and both of them have been brilliant defensively so far this season for Texas. And they've got another guy that they think is nearly as good as those 2.
Michael McCann.
Michael McCann. So catching not a problem at the University of Texas right now.
Actually, during the first game when Cantu was taking infield at first, McCann was out there with Barrera catching. He's got a good arm to second. He looks good.
That's exactly right. So got these guys stretched all out over the place. It's always good to have depth. No substitute for it.
7, 8, 9 due up. Here is Michael Cantu. Flied out to center and also grounded out to third. And I think your point, when you think about it, Rich Anderson is obviously at a spot right now. Excuse me, John Anderson's obviously at a spot right now where he's looking to do anything offensively. You got a guy at first. He's got a little speed. You can't do anything because you're just asking for an out.
Yeah. You've seen your guys get good jumps and get gunned down.
Cantu finished 7th in his class, National Honor Society. 352. His career at Corpus Christi. Moody. If you're not familiar with high school baseball, Moody's one of those names you know about.
Yep. Well, this
Trey Salinas, former Longhorn.
A lot of people out of the city of Corpus Christi could. Robstown's plays good baseball. There's a lot of places. A lot of places down there play excellent baseball.
Full count here. Michael had 3 hits Friday, 0 for 5 today. Nice breaking ball, and he got him to chase.
That's a good-looking left-hander. We've seen the Gophers have definitely brought some guys out that can pitch. They're struggling right now a little bit offensively in this series, but you can see they have talent, especially on the mound.
Texas is going to come with a pinch hitter. As the lefty Mathis is out, so they're going to bring in Joe Baker, who got a start in game 1 at DH and got a hit. Also scored his first run. Freshman from McKinney, Texas. This kid can really pick it. To short. Another guy who can pick it is Handle. There's 2 outs. He really could add some depth, good Baker, and that's one of the things Augie talked about. He can play. You said earlier, if you're that good of a shortstop, you should be able to play second, short, and third. Baker can play all of them.
Yeah, he can, and you're going to need depth. There's no doubt. You've got to have the ability that if somebody goes down, gets dinged up, may get hit in the elbow with a pitch in a game and have to miss a couple of days. You're not going to be able to play your 9 guys at every game for 56. That's regular season games, and then, oh, by the way, after that, you have another 25 that you got to play if you want to finish the thing.
2-0 to Zane Gurwitz. Augie looks on. You wonder why Zane wears number 50, because he's got that Billy Bates, Nick Peoples type mode. Probably should be wearing number 1, maybe number 2. But he wears 50 because his favorite athlete is David Robinson, coming out of San Antonio.
Yep. Not a bad number to have.
No. Not a bad guy to emulate either.
Grandfather played football at the University of Texas.
Three and 1 to Zane. Zane has struck out twice. He's happy that Tim Shannon is gone, because Shannon was just feeding him stuff inside and tying him up. Tim Shannon had a good outing.
He did. He was impressive. A guy that's a couple of years away from Tommy John. Usually you can come back in 12 months from Tommy John, but really it's a good 18 to 24 months before you're back, with your velocity back up to where it needs to be, the confidence that your elbow's going to stay together.
Yeah.
All those things. It usually takes a couple of years.
Here is Ben Johnson. Been hit a couple times. So grounded out to handle it short. Wind really blowing in now. Straight from center. We're going to be heading to the dish tomorrow. You're going to want to
check the weather.
Warm clothes and check the weather. Job by Hansen to get over there. 2 outs here, trying to get that 3rd run. You thinking about sending Gurwitz at all?
2-0 game. You're always thinking about running, but I would allow Johnson to have a chance against the left-hander here, and that's why.
Makes sense, Keith. Gurwitz is going to stop at 3rd, but a double for Ben Johnson.
Then short, quick bat really drops it down on a pitch that, when you throw a pitch like that as a pitcher, you think, boy, that ball was down. But, boy, he just does a nice job of setting his front side down and just dropping the head down on it. Rips it into the corner, and that's what you were looking for. And, again, another extra base hit. This Longhorn club slugging, coming into the game, they were slugging at a really good clip. Their OPS was at 842 starting this ball game.
It's unbelievable, as Keith has said. 750
is a really good offensive team.
Yeah. Colin Shaw will wear that breaking ball, and the bases are loaded for C.J. Hinojosa. This is a good chance for Texas to try and end this thing.
Separate.
Yep.
This is your chance to step on the gas right here. And sometimes as a head coach, and Coach Anderson may be looking and say, let me find out about my freshman right here. He does have a right-hander ready to go in the bullpen if he wants to make that move.
We'll see if he does. It's Ty McDevitt who's getting loose. And therefore a strike.
It's all a learning experience. We're going to talk about all through the month of February and in the mid part of March. You're building, trying to find out about your ball club. Either for Minnesota, they've got to do it on the road for 6 consecutive weekends.
CJ underneath this one. Handle going to take it, and he does. Texas loads them, but can't get them home. We played 7. We got a close one.
The long.
Texas leads Minnesota 2-0. Heck of a ball game as we head to the 8th inning. If you're wondering, hey, I think you said it's like in the 60s there. Well, it's dropped 4 degrees in the last 2 minutes. It's 60 on the big board, and that means it's probably 35 to 40 where that lady is sitting right now.
Well, it's one of the coldest places.
They're not cold.
Wind is blowing in.
Speaking of cold schools, cold areas, northern schools, look at this. College World Series appearances the last 10 years. College baseball has tried to make a concerted effort to not only push the schedule back, but to give these northern schools a chance in a warm weather sport. Indiana, 2013, Kent State and Stony Brook, great stories in 2012. Go back to Nebraska, they had a couple trips there, and I think the biggest one is you got to look at Oregon State, what Pat Casey's done, 2 national championships.
Yeah, he has some really good players too.
No doubt.
There's no question that I feel like that the schools in the north, the cold weather areas, are improving by leaps and bounds.
This is to right field. Coming in is Shaw. He's got to come and can't make the play. Halloran's going to stop at first. Colin Shaw had a long way to go, and the wind was only blowing that back to the infield.
Well, that's the toughest one. When you see a guy take a big swing and the wind's pushing it in and you're back deep and you think you're going to get there, it's the toughest one. That is the toughest play you can have to make as an outfielder, because you see the big swing and you don't get that initial break because you see the big swing, you sort of freeze to read it. Oh, it's in, and then the wind keeps pushing it in. No chance for Marlowe to get to it.
I'll bring up Shefty. Tony singled in the 3rd. Also flied out to Gerwitz in the 5th. Kevin Dunn, Keith Moreland here. Texas looking to take the series. This is the 3rd game of the series. The finale will be tomorrow, 1 o'clock, right here on Longhorn Network. We expect the wind to be howling tomorrow. And
that same direction.
Right. Well, Keith, when we got here, the wind was blowing out. It was blowing out in BP like it was all day yesterday for last night's game. And Ryan Russ said, no, at 3 o'clock, it's going to start blowing in.
Well, it was just still for the first 2 or 3 innings of the first game, and then it changed. Now you got to tape everything down in the booth.
Yeah. 3-0.
Well, this is getting interesting right now.
You taking 2 strikes here?
I'm taking 1 for sure, and then at that point I would make my decision, and now I would again. At first I wanted to see what the pitcher did, and it was barely a strike, just inside the strike zone.
Boswell to Marlowe, and he is safe at first. Marlowe couldn't get much on that throw with Halloran coming down. I didn't see Halloran get out of the base paths. It looked legal.
Yeah, he comes straight in. You can slide straight into the bag, and he was sliding straight into the bag. There's not much you can do. The ball was hit so slowly that the runner's on top of you. You think, what about interference? Well, the runner has the right, if you're in front of the bag, to slide straight into the bag. So there's no interference there, no automatic double play.
Yeah, good call. Texas does get the lead out, though. Scheduled to bring up Alex Boxwell, but we do have a pinch hitter. With the lefty Boxwell. We're going to go to Troy Traxler. We've seen Traxler already in this series.
And 3-1 again. Pitch probably out of the zone downstairs that he swung at. I think that's one that you might look at taking right there in the bottom part of your order. Now, if you've got a guy that's got home run power there, 3-1, I'm going to let him swing.
Absolutely. Line drive snagged by C.J. Hinojosa. And this is going to be an easy one. Hope that Shefty is not injured. He is definitely on the ground right now. And Tony tried to put the brakes on once he saw that was caught, Keith, and it was too late.
He just rolled his ankle right at the beginning. CJ, nice job here, anticipating to his left, and it's a double play.
Take a look at the capital in the capital city of Texas. The Longhorns lead the Golden Gophers 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's been brilliant pitching and really good defense, flawless defense. Good news, Tony Shefty is back out there at third base. You saw Shefty right there, number 1, go down with the line drive that CJ Hinojosa snagged.
Trying to throw the brakes on, the right foot just slipped a little bit on him, turned his ankle a little bit, but able to stay in the ball game. I'll tell you what, it's been a good defensive game on both sides. Neither team has really been able to separate themselves. You'd like to get some insurance right here, and you got the good part of the order. The middle of the order has been affected in this. You've got Marlowe, Barrera, and Boswell right now.
I think those would be the guys you would want up with the way they're hitting. Maybe throwing a Colin Shaw in there. One and one. You liked what you've seen from Gilbreth.
I have. This is a good-looking young freshman out of the state of Colorado. See why he's getting involved. Ball jumps out of his hand. He's got good velocity in the upper 80s. Touched 90, 91 at times. His curveball's done a nice job. And I like his mound presence. He is not afraid. He's come right at the Longhorns. Oof. That doesn't feel good.
No. Probably going to feel a lot worse tomorrow, though.
It comes right down. This looks like it caught him right off of the ankle. And that's not the foot, that's the ankle. And sometimes that's even worse. That's ball to bone right there. Ooh, just the sound of it. That gives you nightmares as a next player.
Tell you what, I got to give Matt Halloran some credit. This kid knows how to catch. You always have. If an umpire gets nicked up a little bit, you taught me that, Keith.
Professional courtesy.
Professional courtesy. Well, this is just courtesy because you're a ball player. He knows Brooks doesn't shake that off.
He's not going to go for a while. Get a good chance to go out and talk to my young left-hander. That's senior leadership right there.
2-2. Base hit to left field for Marlowe.
The improvement in Brooks Marlowe's game is no doubt, Kevin, you know right where I'm going, is the adjustments he's made against left-handed pitching.
Yep.
You can just see he's matured as a hitter, stays in there. 2 years ago, struggled exclusively against left-handed. He really struggled. And last year, he was much better. And so far, what we've seen this year, I don't see the difference between him facing a lefty or righty right now.
And Keith, 2013, when we were calling the games, you know, he had 3 hits off left-handers that year. And he was playing against left-handers. It's not like he wasn't in the lineup. Base hit by Barrera. He continues to hit the ball. It's his 3rd hit of the game. He's a homer away from the cycle, and he was about 2 feet away from that. It's last time up.
Well, this is one of those times when you look at it, I think you do bunt here. We'll see what Coach Garrido, how he wants to play it and how you're seeing it. He's not been a guy that's bunted a lot so far in this young season, but this calls for it here. Lefty-lefty matchup, couple of guys on, nobody out. Now, if Anderson goes and gets a right-hander here who's ready to go in the bullpen, that might be a little different story. You might let Boswell swing, but in a lefty-lefty matchup, I think the bunt is definitely in order here.
See what he decides to do here. Obviously, Minnesota is still in the thick of this game, but with only 3 outs left, they need to keep this at 2-0 because 2 runs for their offense this weekend is a lot.
Well, they've only scored 2, and they've both been unearned.
Well, Brett Boswell, you want to get to know more about Brett. You've seen him on the field. Let's go ahead and listen from the young man.
I came to Texas because it's a school that I always wanted to come to as I was growing up. So it's just a goal I had, and I'm just glad I could accomplish that. Favorite Longhorn in any sport of all time would have to be Drew Stubbs, because I actually got to watch him play while he was here, and he was just a great athlete.
Not a bad guy to emulate. Drew Stubbs played center field here, won a national championship in 2005. So the medical redshirt last season. He was a big-time prospect coming out of Rockwall, only for a state championship his junior year.
You know, when you look at a young man that's getting an opportunity to play as Brett's being able to play as we come back into the booth here, Kevin, one of the things that I look at is he got a chance to watch last year. And there's a great learning curve to be able to be around a club. He was able to travel with the team, make the regional, the super regional, and the World Series. And because of that, I think when he steps in this year, he doesn't feel like he's a regular freshman. He's seen, it's like the red shirt when you redshirt a quarterback when he comes to a major university. You always let them travel with you, where they get an opportunity to see what takes place in the venues they're going to play in later on down the line.
Major Applewhite always said, he said, people said I did so well as a freshman. He said, no, 97, remember, I was able to sit for a whole year, learn everything, and then he felt when he had to get in against UCLA in 98, he felt ready to go.
You're not fooled about the nuances of what goes on in college baseball, because it's a lot different than high school baseball, where you travel on Tuesday and play a game, maybe play a home game on Friday. You know, you get to go see all the environments and the different environments you play in, and the hostility of the other fans. I think he's a lot further along than a lot of people when they say freshman beside his name. Last year played an important role in that.
A big moment in the game right here as Texas looks for that final separation, and Minnesota is going to go to the bullpen. They're going to go to their right-hander, big old number 27. It's Ty McDevitt. McDevitt has been warming up. He's got to be loose now. Junior from Apple Valley, Minnesota, 6 foot, 185 pounder. We'll see what Texas is doing here. Brett Boswell is going to bunt. Runners on first and second, no outs. He's swinging, and this is a high, deep fly ball. Is it going to stay fair? No, it's not.
Well, that's what you do. If you get the green light right there, if you're looking fastball, make sure you turn the shoulders and let it go. And now you can see bunt. We'll see if Coach Greedo changes his mind a little bit, but if the left-hander had stayed in the game, I was sure that he would be bunting. Since they go to the right-hander, I think they'll let him be. I think he'll swing this entire bat, give him an opportunity, you know, to maybe have a big inning, put a 3 spot up.
This is slice to left.
Both balls hit right on the button. One to right, one to left.
Spraying it.
Spraying it all over the field.
Boswell with a couple doubles and an RBI, and then struck out back in the 6th inning. Michael Cantu is on deck. Texas looking to take the series and trying to get a little insurance here with Minnesota down to their last 3 outs. Boswell skies this to shallow left. And that's not made. You could tell he was having problems with the whole time. The throw to third. They do get Brooks Marlowe as he is out. But Traxler, who's moved into left for Smith, who had been so good, he had problems with this.
He did, and you just look at the whole scenario. It's hard to be a base runner in this scenario. As the ball's coming down, you can tell he's having trouble, but you just can't get far away from second base because the ball's right there. If you get too far off the bag, if he catches you, you might get doubled up at second. That's a really nice play by the veteran shortstop to be right there to make the play to get the out and handle. But you know, you will wonder, well, how does Marlowe not be there? You're in no man's land there as a runner. You expect the guy to catch it. You can't get more than 10 or 12 feet from the bag, so they couldn't take advantage of the miscue.
It goes down as a fielder's choice. Cantu to to center. This is going to bring home Barrera, and Boswell's all the way to third. 3-0 Texas.
This looks like a veteran at the plate right now, does Cantu. Really does a nice job staying inside the ball. Didn't think about pulling it in that situation. Stays right back through the box and rips it into right center. Slider that stays up. Sort of a backup slider upstairs. Cantu on top of it. And drives it the other way.
Now a fly ball, and you're looking pretty good. Minnesota's middle infield is going to play at that middle range, maybe turn two, maybe you have to go home. This is towards right field. It's going to drop, and this will score another run for Texas. Cantu will stop at second, and Joe Baker will take it.
Well, Wynn knocks this down. It's not where you hit it. It's not how you hit it, but where you hit it right there. Longhorns take advantage. Wynn pushes it down. Joe Baker has his first RBI as a Longhorn. The Longhorns have separated themselves now with a 2 spot here in the bottom of the 8th.
Smith, who had been in left, had moved to right with Traxler coming in and gave a good effort. But Joe Baker with his second hit of his career, both today. Brings up Zane Gurwitz. Takes a nice hack at that first pitch. Zane has struck out twice. Also walked.
Bad combination to be up in the middle of the zone, and that's what we've seen so far. First pitch he's gotten down in the right spot right there, and it's too low.
Zane reaching at that, and it's going to reach the seats.
We had that graphic up just earlier. Texas has outscored their opponents in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. 30-2 now, I believe, is the right number. That's an impressive. You're scoring late and outscoring your opponents by that margin, you're going to win a lot of baseball games.
That stat blows me away, and so does Minnesota's average with runners on. This should be a chance for Halloran, who's been pretty good behind the plate. Squeezes it for the second out. Well, that stat, 30 outscoring the opponents 30-2 from the 7th inning on. And how about this? Minnesota, we've mentioned it, got to continue to mention it. They're 0 for 33 with runners on in this series.
And 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Well, obviously, if you're 0 for 33, right, you don't have anything with runners in scoring position either. But
I've read that a couple times and thought the same thing. I thought, why did I say that?
Yeah.
1 for 23 with 2 outs. As Ben Johnson steps to the plate. Ben singled his last time up. Been hit a couple times. Ben has that homer. Hit that one of the losses a week ago at Rice. He's got the potential to be a 5-tool type guy.
He does. There's no question about it. He's going to hit with power. He's learning more and more about hitting. His defense is improved twofold.
To right field coming in is Smith. He was playing in. He can't make a play, and they are going to send the runner. Here comes the throw. Not in time. It was cut off, and I don't think they expected Cantu to be coming.
And just the relay just didn't work as smoothly as it should have. Johnson going the other way on a breaking ball. Smith playing shallow, comes up, takes his time getting rid of it, and you just felt like he wasn't sure that he was coming, and he had a chance at the plate. And time he looked, and when you make that delay, you're going to be just that late Gets that left hand right across. That did not feel good to Cantu. Watch him roll right over this bat right at the end. And
yeah.
One of the things you hope is the on-deck guy comes and gets that bat out of the way where you don't have to slide over the top of it.
A couple of things there I was going to ask you. Colin Shaw, maybe he's got to come up and get that. But I've seen catchers and really smart catchers, Halloran, they'll grab the bat and put it right there.
Roll it out there, yeah.
Or else Zane just happened to toss it at a perfect spot as Colin Shaw is hit. That's the 4th Texas batter that's been hit in this game.
Now this comes inside. It's just trying to, it's a changeup. That's one thing that's good about it. You can see it in his grip. That he's trying to throw the change there and just held on to it too long. A great chance for CJ. If it's not separated already, it's a great chance right now to separate yourself in the ball game.
Get the sense, CJ.
12 hits, 4 hit batters, 5 walks in the game.
A lot of different ways to score. CJ steps up. CJ had the bases loaded his last time up and popped it up to handle it short. This could be big for him, just confidence-wise. One and one. Got Joe Baker at third. Ben Johnson at second. We got Colin Shaw at first. CJ Hinojosa at the plate. Seems to just be in a little bit of a funk, Keith.
He's trying. Outscored Minnesota, 23-3, 23-2 in the series. A chance to really blow it up here. And when you look at it, he's a veteran guy. I don't worry about him as the season goes on. Right now, he's just not seen it very well.
To center.
And then when you hit it good, it's right at somebody.
Right at someone. Modal makes the play. Texas gets their insurance. They get 3. Minnesota down to their last 3. We're back here in Austin. To the 9th we go. Texas leading Minnesota 5-0. Still a pretty good crowd on hand. The second game of a doubleheader. 3rd game of the set as Texas looks to take the series. 5 runs, 12 hits for Texas. No runs, 3 hits for Minnesota. Both defenses have been clean as Ty Colbreth comes out for another inning of work. And the Texas pitching has been lights out, Keith.
Oh, they've been outstanding. No earned runs and 26 innings of work. The Gophers have scored a couple of times, but both of those runs are unearned. And right now, you want to finish with Ty right here because he's already had enough work. He's already thrown enough pitches. You're not going to use him tomorrow, so you want to save your bullpen. You still have 18 more innings to get through with tomorrow's game off Monday, and then 9 more innings on Tuesday evening.
That's 5 games in a
5-day stretch. Yeah.
As you said last night, even a big league club, which is built for that would tax them. 0-2 to Jordan Smith. Jordan had a single back in the 6th inning from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. He's a good-looking athlete, big kid. Texas can hold on. They'll be going for the 4-game sweep tomorrow at 1 right here on Longhorn Network. Cantu's going to have to throw down to his buddy Tres Pereira. And there's 1 out here. But Texas looking tomorrow for the sweep, Keith. And, you were really focused, and I think rightfully so, on how the 2 Texas starting pitchers would fare today. And I think we can say Josh Sawyer and also Chad Hollingsworth.
Step to the table.
Step to the table.
Yes, they did.
Now it's time for 42. Casey Clemens to get his start tomorrow.
You're right. And get him the opportunity to get some depth. I think Skip Johnson's done a wonderful job over the first 2 days of this series of using his pitching staff and not taxing it too deep. He's still got plenty of guys left in the bullpen that he can use, but it is a game where Casey Clemens needs to go out and give some length, get into the 5th inning, establish some confidence, that I can use my pitches, go downhill and attack the opposing team.
Modal fouls that off. Down on the count 1-2.
A big part of the reason that Texas has been so successful in this series is Modal has struggled.
Yep.
And this is a guy that's a good leadoff hitter. He's got good speed. He's got good power. He just has not been able to get anything going in this series.
He's got one hit. We'll be looking for more as you take a look at Casey Clemens tomorrow. There's Casey in the back there. Pretty eerie how that's his left ear, I should say. Pretty eerie how similar his windup and delivery is to his dad. The velo's not there, but pretty similar.
Well, he's got good mechanics. He stays behind the ball. You know.
Minnesota down to their last out here. It's going to be Connor Schaefbauer. Schaefbauer walked back in the fourth. Really not much to speak of for this Minnesota offense. Only 3 hits. They're down to their last 2 strikes here. Keith, I would think it's even more important for them just to get something going tomorrow early.
Right. I mean, we've talked about it that, you know, they've just got to find a way. They'd love to play with the lead, love to score in the first.
Yeah.
Just get on the board.
You talked about Culver's fastball. We're seeing a little bit of that jump from his fastball. It jumps out of his hands.
I think it's his best pitch. He sneaks up on you because he's very deliberate. It's a slow, easy windup, and the ball comes out of his hand. He does have a good breaking ball, but I still think he's a deceptive fastball pitcher.
It's been a long day of baseball. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Texas is looking for the win. Fans wanted it.
Just missed downstairs.
Minnesota 1 through 4 hitters in this series, 5 for 41. They're hitting 122, and they've struck out 11 times.
Won't get it done.
(3-2). Schaefbauer, the 2-hole hitter, will take a 2-out walk. That's hard to do when you're the last out, and you got 2 strikes on you. So we'll bring up Fiedler. Matt's 0 for 2, walked back in the 7th inning. Strike 1.
Boy, had a good swing at that, though. The ball was up in the zone. Fiedler is, you can tell, is a good hitter. He's hit the ball crisply. He lined out in this ball game, hit a ball hard right to Brooks Marlowe to end the first. The ball was hit right on the button.
I think he's hit the ball better than anyone on their team. Good pitch there, and once again, Minnesota down to their last strike.
Good depth to that breaking ball that time. It came in and also crossed planes and went down, swung over the top of it.
Fans on their feet looking for the sweep of the doubleheader in the series. Back up the middle. Nice piece of hitting. And Minnesota is now 1 for 34 with runners on this series.
Finally got that out of the way. That's what they were looking for. Their first base hit with a runner. They have not been able to piece together back-to-back hits in any inning. Fiedler does a nice job seeing it, stays inside. Boy, this got a piece. It actually got a piece of Tide. Didn't get him straight on, but did get a piece of his body as it went by him.
Man, that's close, Zonk.
Not in a good location.
That was lined up. Brings up Toby Hansen. Toby's grounded out, struck out, and flied out. Another good breaking ball, 0-2.
I wouldn't change nothing. I'd come right back with the same pitch.
Bury it outside.
Just getting it a little further out there. I'd make it look like a strike and break it away.
He's setting up out there. 0-2, they go to it. Did he go? No.
Just laid off of it.
Go back to it.
I might climb the ladder with the heater right here.
And 2 puts the sign down. Good stop by Michael. Counts even. Don't forget, 1 o'clock tomorrow, the finale of this 4-game set. Goes with the fastball. Colbreth along with Kirby Bello, who we saw earlier. John Malman, who we saw last night. 3 really nice lefty options for Skip Johnson. 2-2, ring him up. Colbreth finishes it off. Texas wins 5-0. They take the doubleheader sweep, and they have the series, Keith.
Well, they've done a nice job. And finally, Minnesota gets a base hit with a runner in scoring position, but they just haven't been able to put anything together. You got to give a lot of credit to the Texas pitching staff, who have really done an outstanding job of attacking the strike zone, not any gifts away, and the offense continues to pour it on with 12 more hits in this ball game.
Another thing, too, it seems like Texas keeps on adding weapons with Michael Cantu throwing the ball the way he is. That could be another, like you said, defensive weapon for this team.
Well, I think this is going to be an outstanding defensive team. The outfield defense is already good, but if you throw that into the mix, Barrera's been throwing the ball well, Cantu's been throwing the ball. Middle of the order was outstanding tonight when you look at how they produce. Marlowe with the home run, the extra base hits, and the slugging percentage out of the middle of the order separated the ball game.
Do you feel like 31 Chad Hollingsworth looked more like the old 31?
He did. He's still going to get stronger. His velocity's going to get up as well.
Well, it's a good day for Texas. They take 2. Time for the Eyes of Texas.